Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But I'm gonna have part two out of out of two because yeah, I accidentally did that shit. Sorry about that. But actually, he does have Conqueror's Hockey. I did not know that. But then Crocodile would try to overwhelm Luffy's hockey with overwhelm Luffy with his Conqueror's Hockey, but it wouldn't work because yeah, Luffy has a stronger will than Crocodile, I believe. And then Crocodile would think that he's caught off guard and then try to attack him, but Luffy would grab his hand and catch his hand, put his other hand on his shoulder and put him in the arm lock, and then he would restrain him for a while, and then I would say Crocodile gets out, but right when he gets out, Luffy puts him in a chokehold until he passes out. That's how the fight goes. Now we're going to skip all the way to meeting Blackbeard. Remember, Ace is still with them. And I believe that Luffy would stay out of Ace's way at the start of the fight, because yeah, but we're not there yet. So they walk into the bar. Ace would come a little bit later because he won't really need to get stuff off the ship. And then, but yeah, Luffy and Teach are eating pie. They both have different opinions. And then, pretty sure Bellamy was there, but Luffy would just knock him out anyways. But yeah, then Ace would show up when they're in the middle arguing. Teach, and if you've seen Teching 101 video on what would happen there, well, he would instantly attack him, and after he attacks him, of course, Teach would, I would say, be a little bit weaker here, like Teching would state, but still, I think he wins, barely, but at the start, he's a little bit scared, like a tiny bit, but yeah, and then he gets over himself, and the same thing happens as the original, but Ace does a little better, but right before Blackbeard knocks out Ace, Luffy would get after Teach knocks out Ace, there, let's put it there, let's just say Luffy was perfectly fine after the final clash, and, Luffy would step in and stop Blackbeard from taking Ace. Remember, Blackbeard has his crew with him, and Luffy has his. But his crew knows hockey in this one. And Sanji and Zoro are the same strengths. Same exact, like tied. Every time they fight, they would tie. But yeah, he would step in and fight Blackbeard his own. And I think that Luffy would fare better against Blackbeard than Ace would. Because, don't get me wrong, the Marimari no Mi is really powerful. But I put the Mochi Mochi no Mi ahead of it. And Luffy would be on the verge of awakening it. Like, really close to awakening it. But not quite yet. But let's go to the fights against Blackbeard's crew. They'll get demolished by Zoro and Sanji alone. Zoro would speed blitz all of them. And he would leave the big macho man, Randy Savage man, to Zoro because he would be like, might not give him a chance. And then he would blitz all the rest of them, and the others wouldn't even need to step in. And then Zoro would beat the big macho man, because I forget their names. And then and now we go to the fight against Luffy and Blackbeard. So Luffy would start off with, because if you noticed, Ace did not use Haki during the fight, and Ace has all forms of Haki. He does, which I guess he was just trying to beat him with his Mera no Mi. But anyways, Luffy would actually use his Haki. He would use his Haki in most fights because he was taught by Shanks. And I would say him with his Devil Fruit and Haki abilities were equal. But yeah, so he would punch Blackbeard in the stomach and blitz up to Blackbeard and punch him in the stomach for what he did to Ace. And then Blackbeard would try and fight back, but Luffy would be faster than Blackbeard and more agile. So he would just be maneuvering around the attacks. Blackbeard would try and use his Black Vortex. It would work, but when Luffy got close and Blackbeard canceled his Devil Fruit ability, Luffy would grab onto his arm and start wailing on him. Hockeyed up his fist and pop, 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 pop. Until Blackbeard was bloody. Cause he would use his Conqueror's Haki, slow Blackbeard down 1. And 2, he would be using armament to keep Blackbeard in pace. And remember, since it's daytime, Blackbeard is weakened. Considerably. He cannot use the normal. If he was in darkness, he would be a lot stronger. But he's not. And we never see him fight in darkness. So, every attack hurts him a lot more than normal. Thus, he would be really bloodied. But I would say that he would get up because he has really good endurance. And then he would use the move that he used to clash against Ace's final move, and then blow them away, not hurting them that much because they would all coat themselves in armament Haki. They all got to armament stage. But Ace would be in Blackbeard's hands. So Marineford will still happen. But Skypiea, I'm gonna put after Marineford in this one. I would say that Luffy would contact Shanks and then tell him to tell Whitebeard himself, that Ace got captured because he was caught off guard. And then, to go to Marineford. And then he would go to Imbo Down to try and get Ace out. He would tell Ace to tell him that, Ace's brother, Shanks, that Ace's brother told him this. And then Whitebeard would instantly go to Marineford. And I'm gonna say that right when Teach brings it up to Marineford, Ace up to Marineford, they would speed up his execution, the next day, into the next day, which I'm pretty sure they actually did do that, but anyways, it's been a while. And then he would go, and Luffy would still go to Impel Down. Of course, he already met Bo, I say. And then Bo would help him get down there. And then he would meet Jinbei and everyone else. And then, Luffy would, would recruit a lot of people, especially Buggy as well. Hello, Buggy. Seriously, people really think that Buggy's a god. Seriously, it's stupid. But anyways, but yeah, I'm gonna say that strength appears at the same time, but like a little bit earlier actually. But Luffy gets there, and then freaking Whitebeard gets there at the same time as Luffy. They're both mowing through Marines, and then Smoker would show up and want to fight Luffy. Him and Luffy would have a good fight. They'd be going back and forth between each other. I don't think Smoker knows hockey at this point. So yeah, he's at a disadvantage, but after time skip, don't worry, he's getting hockey. So Luffy uses Conqueror's hockey to slow him down like he does in most fights. And then, because a lot of people have really strong wills at Marineford, and then, he would knock out, Smoker by putting him into a chokehold, because he doesn't really want to hurt Smoker that badly. And then, when, Sengoku's gonna tell them to, by the way, Marco still tries to go up there, but of course Scar punches him down, because, yeah, it's his duty. But yeah, and then when Sengoku would tell them to kill Ace at that point, but then even though he did that a little bit later, but anyways, but then Luffy would use his Conqueror's hockey, which he is very adept with, at full blast, like it would shock everyone. Because Luffy has not used his Conqueror's hockey at full blast yet, because he knows he wouldn't be able to, like, even knock out Crocodile and stuff. But yeah, and then he would get up there with Mr. 3, grab, and then Mr. 3 would make the key, and they would release Ace. Sengoku would try to punch them, like punch Luffy, but Luffy would use his mochi no mi to block the attack. And then I would say that instead of going down, he would he would envelop Sengoku's Buddha hand and throw him down to Whitebeard. Whitebeard is still sick in this one, yes, but since Marineford is happening earlier, he's not as sick, or as weakened. So, then freaking him and Sengoku fight. Garb would still be at the top. Then Akainu comes down, and then fights Ace. And, like, the whole thing happens, and then we get to Akainu fighting Ace. But this time, Luffy would be a help. And Ace did not use his hockey at all in that fight, which was stupid. But yeah, in this one, Luffy would tell Ace to use hockey and not just use his devil fruit. And then Ace would do better, but he would still be losing to Akainu. But then Luffy would join in and help Ace out. And then they would hold back Akainu long enough. But then Akainu calls out Kiji. No, calls Kizaru, because, yeah, Kizaru would actually do it. And Kizaru would knock Luffy down. And then Akainu would be about to kill Luffy, but Ace jumps in the way. And then he gets not as badly hurt, but still had a pretty huge hole. Not all the way through, but had a hole in his back. I'm going to have an Ace slip in this one, because I like Ace. and then Whitebeard appears behind Akainu in that awesome scene. Like, seriously, how did Whitebeard not kill Akainu? That was bullshit plot armor. But yeah, let's just say that he was able to have Marco help him in knocking down Sengoku for a little bit. Like, Sengoku's knocked out, but not for long, don't worry. Actually, I'm pretty sure Garb was before that. So, actually, the replay is that. So, they're still, Marco and Whitebeard are still fighting against Sengoku, because Sengoku is very strong. Once Garb sees that, he would think that Ace would die. Sengoku's not there to stop Garb from killing Akainu. Garb was about to start sprinting. So Garb would start running up to Akainu, armament Haki, full power, punch Akainu into Marineford base, take down the entire place, and then freaking start and then start running up again, and then start wailing on Akainu. I believe that Garb is stronger than Akainu, mostly because he's one, the hero of the Marines. 2, look at the feats he has. And 3, he was a rival to freaking Goldie Roger, like freaking Whitebeard was. And guess what? Whitebeard beat the shit out of Akainu. And Garb is not sick, unlike Whitebeard, where if Whitebeard and him fought in the Marineford, then fucking Garb would win. But yeah, anyways, back on track. Fucking, then Luffy would take, Buggy would take Luffy and Ace to Law's ship, yada yada. And then, right before Garb kills Akainu, Whitebeard would actually, no, not Whitebeard. Let's say Sengoku would still be fighting, so let's say that, Kizaru stepped in and kicked Garb out of the way. Akainu would be bloody beaten. At that point, Garb would be betraying the Marines. Thus, he would be like, fuck it, and just start helping the Whitebeard pirates. I know it may not be seen in character, but I think this would happen. And then, Whitebeard, and then Blackbeard shows up. I think that he would die. And, like, Whitebeard would still die. Because, 1, he's still sick. 2, he's weakened from his fight with Sengoku. But I'm not gonna have Blackbeard killed off right now because he's, like, the main villain. But I really want to kill him off. But anyways, at least I got the satisfaction by having Garb beat the shit out of Akainu. Anyways, once Blackbeard shows up, they would all kill Whitebeard, and then after that, he would take Whitebeard's self to fight Sengoku. Sengoku's weakened at this point, but Garb is still there, and Garb is stronger than Sengoku, a little bit stronger than Sengoku, and he would join Sengoku to kill Blackbeard. Well, try to. He would be slippery and not die this one. But yeah, he would run away, and then, well, not yet, but like he would knock down Sengoku. Garp would start running up and punch Blackbeard, and then Shanks would finally show up. He'd be like, "You want to fight, Teach?" again, and then Teach would throw the little jab at him, not like actual jab, but mental jab about his scar, which that actually made Shanks look much cooler. Thank you, Blackbeard, for giving us that. But yeah, and then the war would stop. Garp would be kicked out of the Marines because he betrayed them. Sakazuki or Kainu would still become Fleet Admiral, of course, after time skip. But Garp would be going back to, would actually go to with Shanks, and then like join Shanks for a little bit, and then he would find out that Ace would still be alive, so he was happy about that. And then next up he would go, and then during the time skip, of course everything happens the same, but when Kuzan or Aokiji gets, leaves the Marines, but this one he actually leaves the Marines and then goes to where Garp would be reported to be, which would be around Shanks' island, the one that the flag got burnt down in. But yeah, and then he'd meet up with Garp, and then they would go and try and find Luffy, I believe. He would be with Rayleigh like usual. But yeah, that's the end of part 2/2, out of 2. And then, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. I will make the next one maybe tomorrow, I don't know when. But yeah, there's a big surprise coming next part. Okay, bye.